It's me again. I'm back with another 3D print video, and this one's really long. Handsome Jack's been a character I've wanted to make for a really long time. He's genuinely one of my all-time favourite video game characters. Now I know Jack got a new model in Borderlands 3, but 2 is better. There was a lot of work I had to do in order to get this print ready to go. You'd think ripping the model from the game would save me a ton of time, but because the mesh was low poly, it meant that I had to sculpt all the high poly detail. It wasn't easy at all, and the mesh cleanup took ages, and by the end I was a little drained from it, so it kind of sat in my hard drive for a week. It's definitely a lot more fun to model things from scratch versus fixing up broken meshes, so I'm not in a hurry to do that again. I know there are some people out there who don't think 3D printing is art, but there's so much work that goes in behind the scenes. You can't print something from nothing, you have to make it in the first place. And once Jack's model was ready to print, he took about 20 hours. Some things like the head only took an hour and a half, while the torso took 10. But I mean, have you seen that guy's shoulders? And posing him with his arms folded didn't help. I could have avoided this by printing him smaller, but I didn't want to do that. So when it came to prepping the file for printing, I split Jack into 5 pieces. I actually ended up printing 6 pieces because I sliced the chest in half once again in my slicing software. This wasn't the best idea. When it printed, there were some alignment issues with the 2 pieces. I ended up having to fill in the gaps with putty and kind of just doing a little damage control on that, which was fine. It worked and was a lot faster than printing the entire thing again. It also saved me print material, which, you know, that's always a good thing. Look how pretty he is! I was worried a lot of the hair detail wouldn't come out, but it did. I'm so happy. I set this 3D file up to have peg holes to help me fit things together, but some of them ended up not fitting so well. I'll get the hang of it eventually. It was a pretty easy fix. Some pegs just needed clipping down, and some holes just needed widening slightly, which I did with a Dremel tool. I've since modified those files, so the ones I supply should hopefully fit together with no problems, but you know, if it doesn't fit, just get rid of the pegs, you don't need them. And there he is, handsome as ever, but there's a lot of work to be done before I can paint this. I use high coat filler primer in order to fill the gaps of my layer lines. It took quite a few coats. Between every coat, you have to make sure you're sanding. You can't just spray it only, it doesn't work. So you really can't skip that sanding step, even though it's a huge pain in the ass and paint dust gets everywhere. I haven't met a single person who enjoys sanding, but it is a necessary evil. Unless you're fine painting prints with a bunch of layer lines, then you know what? Go for it. It's fine. This is as smooth as I cared to take the pieces. I also stuck his head on a bottle cap to make holding it easier. I used Warhammer's Wraithbone white spray to prime, because painting straight onto yellow is horrible. Any white spray works, I just have this one around the house. And it's time for the most fun part, which is painting. I've already answered this before, but I'm going to do it again. The key to getting your paint job looking smooth is to water them down. I use a wet palette, which does exactly what it sounds like. It keeps the paint wet, and you can mix different colours on it, and they won't dry up like they would on a normal palette. It's pretty handy. Especially because throughout this I went back and fixed things as I went, so I'd suddenly decide some lines were just a bit too thick and thin them down, changing shades. I think I repainted the face like 3 times, so there's some missing footage there for it, but that was just a wild adventure. Fortunately, I did eventually end up with a face I was happy with. I actually started painting the lines off camera. Not on purpose, I just didn't realise I wasn't holding him in the frame, so sorry about that, but the only thing really missing is the lines on the hair, which is pretty easy. You just follow the lines in the sculpt. And like I said before, I repainted the face a lot, so I'm not entirely sure if this is even the final one I went with. Either way, it was the same technique, so I hope you can forgive me. I actually really underestimated how long painting took. If I included every bit of footage in this video, it would be about 40 minutes long. And I figured nobody wants to watch that, so I've cut it down. I didn't really include a lot of this shirt tail. I got a little bit of the legs, but I didn't do the full thing. I decided the torso and the head were going to be like the most interesting parts of the video. They're the most fun anyway, and also the most detailed. But if you're fine with really, really long paint time-lapse videos, then let me know, and I guess I'll put those together. The rendering will kill me. But for you guys, I will endure. So what I'm doing here is using a big soft makeup brush to, I guess, kind of dry brush some lighter colors onto his jacket. There's some really nice color variants going on in the actual in-game textures, and I kind of wanted to replicate that a little bit, obviously not going too overboard. As you can see, there's a nice scattering of different greys across the surface, with darker greys in the crevices and lighter greys on some of the sharper edges and across the top of the shoulders. I wasn't totally sure if this step would work, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. As you might expect, doing all the black lines is the most fun part of the painting process. It's just really satisfying. It's that final step that pulls everything together and really gives it that iconic Borderlands style look. And I did take a lot of photo reference before painting this stuff. I had the game model, so I looked at the ripped textures and took pictures of lots of different angles. But I mean, I followed it pretty closely, but also there was a lot of room to just kind of improvise and not have to worry about being super perfect. Something I really appreciate about the Borderlands style. It's artistically messy. Painting on all the black lines is what really took the longest, and is hopefully the most satisfying part to watch. So I've done this completely unscripted and have fast run out of things to talk about, so I'm just gonna leave you to enjoy the rest of the video. wonder how many people stuck around for this entire video. If you're still here, you get to see Jack in his final form. I am really happy with how he turned out. I had a lot of fun and I hope you enjoyed watching the progress. As usual, materials are listed in the description as well as programs used, along with other social media links where you can find me. I'll see you in whatever video comes next.